Welcome to Stay Paid. Today we are answering your burning questions in real estate, business, marketing, and more. On these episodes, we take live calls from listeners of Stay Paid, and if you want to have your question answered live on the show, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Stay Paid Podcast. Shoot us a message, or you can go to remindermedia.com/ask and submit your questions there. My name is Josh Dyke, Chief Marketing Officer at Reminder Media, joined by Luke Acree, President of Reminder Media, and from the Acree Brothers Realty team, founder and team lead Stephen Acree, and Director of Sales Cody Smith. We are going to bring on Sierra. Sierra calling from California. Sierra, welcome. Sierra, bye.
Bye. Bye, Sierra.
She was on for a second and then she's gone.
She saw Cody. She was like, oh, God.
She's like, I can't. I'm in the wrong place right now. You know, she's out of California. It's a little early there. You know what I mean? Oh, she's back.
Here we go, round two. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear. We thought you saw our faces, Sierra, and hung up.
I don't want anything to do with it.
I'm so excited. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. We are thankful to have you on the show. What can we help you with? What's your question?
Okay, so first off, my name is Sierra Garland. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and I recently started a woman's luxury shoe business, right? Okay. So I started off with currently 4 designs, right? This is my latest one that I'm releasing this winter. I also have a handbag too as well, right?
And they look great too. Everybody, if you're listening to the audio of this, check out the YouTube video. She's showing these.
Listen, right?
Designs.
So my issue is that I'm having is, how do I find a placement, like a home for these? Currently, I am online based, and my shoes are priced starting at maybe $224 for this one here. And I go up to maybe $275 for my boot. I am currently made from Italy. That's where I'm housed at. That's where my shoes are manufactured from. They come in these beautiful boxes here.
Yeah, look at that. Dang.
Yeah, so that's just one for my handbag, and this is for the shoes. They're very amazing. However, I am trying to find a home from them. Like, I want to be able to place them in a store, maybe find a buyer. I do want to run online. I enjoy running online, but however, I want to have them in a store. Now, being as though I've only been in business for a year, July the 3rd of 2024 was my 1-year anniversary. So for me, I feel like I want to kind of put them in a store, and I don't know how exactly to do that, where to start. Okay. I have started by, I used ChatGPT to ask them how or what particular stores are open to, you know, new entrepreneurs who are accepting new merchandise and things like that. So it gave me a list of 150 people. I emailed all of them. Wow. This was on December the 27th. I emailed 150 of them. So now I want to go back and call those people to say, hey, you know, I sent you guys an email, but outside of that, no one has responded back to me with the emails I sent. I started on December the 22nd. I gave myself a week to send those emails out, but I haven't even gotten one back in regards to housing them. So my question is, how do I find buyers?
I am super impressed, and congrats on your taking action in building the business. You said you're a year. And you built literally in retail, you know, shoes, I'm assuming, are extremely competitive. So, you know, well done, like taking action, getting your idea to life. It's amazing. Oh, I love you have the magazine.
I've done
even
so
better.
Many things. I've even done a book.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So you're a hustler. You're out there grinding. Tell us about your revenue. How much have you sold of the shoes in the year?
So maybe I've done about 10,000 in sales, which I don't know if that's great or not. So for me,
how many shoes? How many pairs of shoes would that be?
I've done maybe about 20.
So about 20 clients.
Yeah, maybe about.
Is the $200 and something price range, is that high end? Is that considered high end? I just don't know shoes. I figured it was.
Yes.
It's more than what I pay for shoes, but I don't know. My wife Megan, maybe she.
It's considered like a woman's luxury shoe based off of the print and materials.
Yes.
Like this is like zebra hair, guys. Like this is hair here, you know.
So let me ask you this then, Sarah. Why go to retail? Why do you want to go to retail? What's motivating that?
Well, because I want to be able to actually meet the people like online. I can't connect with the people. I can't, tell them so much about the shoe. Now I do Instagram.
But why do you want to do that? Like, why do you want to meet the people and connect with
I want to meet the people. I want to show my product. I want it to be in the storefront. I want people to be able to pick it up and pick their options. For example, like online, I have several different styles. Like, let's say you're like, hey, Sierra, I'm not a heel girl, but I have these, right? So in the store, you'll be able to try them on. For example, let's say you say, hey, Sierra, I like heels. I want something a little bit more comfortable. I would want you to be able to have the experience of being able to touch them, feel them, and try them on. Vice versa, online, you don't get the option of it. And being as though it's a price point, it's like when you spend your money, you want to make sure that you're spending for exactly what you want. So I felt like if I had them in a store, it will open me up to more customers, I would say, and also get people to feel it, touch it, and see the product, try it on, things of that nature.
Okay. So awesome question. And it's really about how do you drive, engagement, and how do you drive awareness and ultimately purchases. I can only answer it the way I would answer the questions here at Reminder Media, in us growing our business and the multiple businesses we've grown over the years. I think you are confusing and conflating two different desires, and that's a problem, and that's going to hurt you. So you have the desire of being the fashion designer and meeting the client and the love for your product and the proud, and this is amazing, right? Because you are truly an innovator, entrepreneur. So awesome, kudos to you. But then you're mixing that with the business, and you haven't proven out yet the business side. And the easiest way to prove that out is direct to consumer through e-commerce, and get feedback on the product and actually get sales. I think you are going to hurt yourself trying to go into retail. One, from the inventory standpoint and the money it's going to cost you to have the actual inventory in the stores. The only caveat I would make there is if you maybe find some local boutique stores that you can put it in just to test the feel, because it feels like a boutique item, but the margin is in direct to consumer. The business model can be, kind of run and developed in the sense of you run ads, you tell the story through ads, you drive the ads to your Shopify or whatever storefront you're using and see if you can sell them. Otherwise, you're in for a really hard road of pound the pavement, get it into retail, and you're next to God knows how many other shoes. I would rather you prove the concept out B2C, make some money, and then maybe go into the retail side. But I think your desire to be involved with the people and the fashion side of it and the feedback from the client and the proud of seeing your shoe in the store is distracting you from the business that's in front of you. You need to be asking yourself the question of, why are my shoes not selling online right now? Well, they're not selling online because I'm not getting in front of the right people with the right time. And so how do I reach the right people at the right time? And there's great platforms like Google and Facebook that
Instagram. You advertise on Instagram now?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Are you posting content? Because that's how you could fulfill that side of your business. Let me look up your Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
I have Miss Sierra, MSCIERRA. That's my personal page. And then I have Society Shoes by Sierra. So I run them on both. Like most times I do then as though my personal page has more of a following. I will post more of my content on there. And then on Society Shoes by Sierra, I'll put more of my official campaigns, more things like that. Now, also another reason why I was considering going into a store is because I got invited to do New York Fashion Week. So I was figuring maybe if I did New York Fashion Week, I could, kind of have them in the store to be purchased as well, But I also understand what you're saying as far as like I should.
The Fashion Week, push the people to your online store. Yeah. You're going to be awesome on content. Okay. And you sharing your love for the product and each shoe and what style would fit with what outfit, and also for comfortability, like you sharing all that content.
Get ready with me and things like that, like dressing the shoes.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And then you drive people. I'm just looking at your Instagram here now, and your designs are awesome, but I would just be doing a lot more from a content perspective
So more posting.
Yeah, around what you're doing. And then
How-
your journey, like you as the designer, you being invited to this fashion week,
Yeah.
you being here on Stay Paid, like more of you to get to know you, the designer, and then the style guiding and stuff like that. Also, I mean, I just think that you haven't tested the waters at all on e-commerce ads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Why not
that's just
your
my take.
website?
Yeah.
Why not take the like Mary Kay almost approach to this? Like, because you can still meet people face to face, and you can still get people. So you don't even have to have a business front, but just like go get groups together to show your product and sell it to them in person. Instead of having the expense and overhead of leasing something and the risk that's there. Go prove your product. And then that's a super proven product. People are buying it right off the bat without you having to pitch them so hard. Then you've got something good for maybe retail would be my thought, but I'm, take it with a grain of salt.
You're still at the entrepreneur phase where you're trying to prove product market fit.
Yes.
And the only way to prove product market fit is through pounding the pavement. So it's not that what you're doing is wrong. I think you getting the list of 150 and emailing them and then calling them and go door knocking, kudos all day long. You have the time to do it. Keep doing that. But where the business model is probably for you is in this B2C. Direct to consumer off of e-commerce. And so I just would encourage you that now maybe you don't have the money to test ads. That might be the issue for you is you don't have the money.
That's another thing. I have been trying to apply for grants. Maybe like in December, I maybe apply for maybe about 10 grants. And of course, I didn't get approved for any of those. So that's another thing I was trying to do in regards to trying to find grants and things of that nature to maybe help a little bit. But also the inventory head and things of that nature. I do understand what you're saying in regards to that, because it would be no point in me purchasing all of this inventory if I'm not able to sell it. Is that correct?
Yeah, the problem is when you go to retail is you have to have inventory. So who's going to buy that inventory? Well, the store's not buying it. They make you buy it and put it in their store. And so that costs money. And that cash flow is the killer of all businesses, is the poor management of cash flow. And so you're going to be in a cash flow crunch where what you've got to do is figure out a model where you can sell and get money in the door. And I'm assuming you probably have good margin on your product because it's a 220. Do you know what your margin is? Like your gross profit margin?
Not off a hand, no. I guess
so. You'll want to know that. So it's like how much you sell the shoe for versus the COGS of how much it costs you to create the shoe. So your gross profit is going to be your revenue minus your COGS,
your landed cost,
and then you'll have your expenses, type idea that you flow. But you at least need to know how much it costs you to make the shoe. Do you know how much it costs you to make it?
Oh, yes. I know how much it costs me to make the shoe. It depends on different designs, but yes, I do.
Okay. Because then that tells you your margin ultimately after, everything. And then that tells you what you can spend on marketing.
Gotcha.
Right. Because you don't want to be, like how much can you spend to acquire a shoe client on Instagram? That's the question, right? It's like, so if I sell it for $200 and it costs me $100 to make it, so I have $100 that I'm going to profit. So that $100, well, some of that's going to go to my rent for the business. Some of that's going to go to my electricity, my phones, my internet, right? And some of that's going to go to the marketing. And so that's the piece that you need to map out. That goes, okay, how do I get to a 20%, profit margin where I'm netting 20% after all COGS, all cost of goods, and all expenses are paid? I'm bringing home at least 20% in the business. And so that's where, from a marketing standpoint, when you go out and try to test, let's say, Instagram ads, you need to track how much did I spend to how many customers I got.
Gotcha.
And that's, so if you spend $100, you get one customer, your cost of acquisition was $100.
Gotcha.
Right. So if you ever watch Shark Tank and they want to know your cost of acquisition, right? It's like that your cost of acquisition then tells you, do you have a model to where you can just spend $1 and make $2? I can spend $1 and make $2. And then what you're not even counting, which is even better, and this is the LTV, lifetime value. You might have Steven go buy a pair of shoes. You'd look pretty good in those shoes, Steven. No, you might have him go buy a pair of shoes for Lissa. And Lissa might love the shoes, and they come back and reorder another pair. So now they were $200, but the average client orders 2 pairs over the course of their lifetime with you. So your average lifetime value is $400.
Gotcha.
Type idea. And so in the ratio you want in a healthy company is at least usually a 1-to-3 ratio of CAC to LTV. Obviously, the best businesses, are way more than that, but that means for every, it costs you, $1 to make or to get the client, you make $3 from the client. So that ratio, that's a minimum that you want to hit. Most people want to see this 1-to-4 ratio, but businesses, I think like Starbucks and stuff like that, they have like a 1-to-14 ratio type idea. So, the better businesses, obviously you make more per client, but you need at least like a 1-to-3 type ratio for a really, a healthy business that can sustain.
Gotcha. I appreciate all of this information you guys have.
You're amazing. The shoe designs truly are awesome. I'm going to have Megan check them out.
Thank you so much.
I think your takeaways from this is get on content and your love for meeting the people and your passion for fashion. Well, look what I just did there, people. Hashtag passion for fashion. Your passion for fashion, you do through your content of your social media. And then you need to start building the metrics of the ads to purchasing, the e-commerce side of your business, emails, right? And we didn't even talk about emails, but the email list that you need to start building from, the people you meet, so you can send out promotions right before the holidays. So you can send out, right before Mother's Day, tell all the people on your email list, get these shoes. So you got to build the email list. You got to start advertising on Instagram, Facebook, and start measuring your spend to your buying. What was that CAC? What was that cost of acquisition?
1 to 3%.
1-to-3 ratio is the minimum you're trying to look for.
That's correct.
Business.
Was that answer it correctly?
So no, well, what I'm saying is you spend $1, you make 3. Think of it.
Okay, got you.
So it's CAC. So cost. How much did it cost me to acquire a client? Versus LTV. What do I make off of this client? Now, LTV stands for lifetime value. The problem with lifetime value is you might find lifetime value over 10 years because a client might reorder from you in that time span. So it's impossible to run the business totally off of LTV. So I usually tell people set your LTV at 12 months, 24 months. It's not true LTV, but in a situation economically, I get a client for $100 over the course of 24 months. My LTV, my lifetime value of 24 months is X. And I want to see a 1-to-3 type ratio there or more.
Gotcha. Okay.
Love it.
Sierra.
You're amazing. I already followed you. But great stuff. And congrats.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you giving me all of this information. I'm going to definitely put it in place.
Let us know how Fashion Week goes.
Yep.
I will. Am I able to get back on here again?
Yeah, we'll have to bring you back and give us an update. So we want an update after Fashion Week, and we want to see what you took action on, because I can tell you're an action taker. You're a hustler. So I love it.
I'm trying. Thank you guys so much.
Yep. Have a great one. See you.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
She had great designs. That was phenomenal.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Great designs. Great packaging. Make sure to get your questions answered here live on Stay Paid. You can go to remindermedia.com/ask, and we will reach out and get you scheduled here on the show. All right, there you go. Make sure you get your questions answered live here on Stay Paid. You can go to remindermedia.com/ask. Submit your questions there. We'll get you scheduled here on the show. Our next caller, Lakala, calling from Virginia. How are you? Welcome to Stay Paid.
Hi. How is everyone doing? It's LaKayla. Yep, I'm down in Yorktown, Virginia.
Awesome. Yorktown. Well, LaKayla, thank you for, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes.
All right. Love it. Thank you for joining Stay Paid. We're excited to have you on the show. How can we help you grow your business? What is the question you have or thing that maybe is holding you back that we can help you with?
Yeah. So something that I definitely have been having a lot of conversations with other professionals, and one that we find is kind of common. And I've kind of come up with a way that I wanted to ask it. So hopefully it'll be clear. When it comes to buyers and sellers who are unsure about the market and unsure about the timing. And because there's this level of uncertainty, they feel waiting is the safest thing to do. So I'm always just wondering, what can I do, or what's the role of the agent? Like, what can we do that will help people make better decisions? Because waiting is not always most beneficial to them. In fact, it can actually cost them.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, really good question, and a struggle I think everybody has been facing lately, especially with mortgage rates where they are, and the majority of the nation is sitting on what, less than a 4%, like 4% or less is what the majority of the nation has been sitting on, which is crazy. Yeah, can you give me a little background of your business, how long you've been in real estate, kind of what's your volume, a level from a transaction side that you do?
Sure. So this year actually marks me being licensed for 32 years. I am originally from Virginia, but I started my
Wow.
real estate career in Georgia. So I got licensed in Georgia in 94. I was in the Atlanta market. At the time when I started out, I did a lot of relocation. So worked with buyers and sellers, relocated back to Virginia in 2013 because my parents were aging, and I had found myself primarily in the niche working with seniors. My volume is usually around about 4 million or so
Wow.
a year, doing roughly about 12 to 15 units per year. But always looking to grow, always looking to develop myself.
Yeah, well done. You are a solid producer, and
There's
congrats
a
on the.
delay. I couldn't hear you.
That's okay. I was saying, well done. You are a solid producer with many, many years of experience. My gut tells me you pretty much already know the answer to the question in this regard of you are really a real estate consultant, right? So part of your
Absolutely.
business, you have to do sales and you have to do marketing. You have to attract people in, but you're really consulting people based upon the needs that they have and
Mhm.
the desire that they want and their situation economically. And so when I think about your question of how do I guide people the right way, when I think about, the sales process and the real estate consulting process, it really starts with, can you get to the true pain point and the true reason behind them wanting to move? And you really have to get that. Like, what is the motivation? Is it a job? Is it that they need more room because they just had a kid? Like, what is that driving motivation? And then that plays into, of course, their urgency. And that
Correct.
plays into you being able to consult them the right way, because when you put pressure on them to try to educate them of, no, you shouldn't wait, you should be moving. Sometimes people will move. It doesn't have to be the best economical situation because their desired outcome is different than that. Like, they maybe don't totally care, because I know we do a lot of investing. There's a lot of investment deals we've gotten where it's like a great deal for us, the investor. And you would be thinking that this homeowner is like, well, you're losing out on 50 grand in equity. You could take it to market instead of selling it to us for cash. But that's not what they ultimately want. They want a speedy transaction. They want cash in hand right away. They don't want to have to deal with it. And so not everybody is driven by the same things, is the point I'm making. And
Right.
I would encourage you that it starts with, are you in your appointment getting the true reason of motivation? And then if you are, and you feel like you're getting that, then it moves to, how do you convince people that they should be moving, even though they're thinking I should wait because the market might change, or, interest rates might go down or whatever. You can't control the market, but you can educate them on what the market traditionally does, right?
Mhm.
And do home values go up or down, LaKayla? Do home
They
values
do
go up or
both.
down? Do they
They do
appreciate?
both. So because we operate in cycles.
Yep. So if you hold long enough in real estate, are you going to lose money or you're going to make money?
Typically, you're going to make money. If you hold it long enough, you're going to make it.
You're going to make money.
Hmm.
Exactly. So what I get into with people is like, hey, if I know and understand your outcome and your goal that you want, we know real estate is an appreciating asset that if you hold long enough, you will win in this business. And ultimately prices go up. They don't usually come down. So
Right.
is there a chance that they could try to time the market in terms of like when a mortgage rate is going to dip or when house prices are going down? Sure, they could try, but what does every major investor tell you, and what does everybody know in this business? You can't really time the
You can't
market,
time it.
and that's why the whole term "date the rate" came came in. So I would just encourage you that I think that there isn't really a great value add that you can wow them with besides the actual facts. And it really comes down to what is their desired outcome. And that's what I'm going to push on. I'm going to push on the emotional desired outcome. And then I'm going to confidently explain to them that, hey, you can hold and wait to time the market. But traditionally, and what I've seen over my 32 years of experience is it's almost impossible to time the market. So what you are better off doing is going off of the things that we know to be true. That real estate appreciates usually 4% a year. And if you're not going to sell this house in 2 years, you're probably going to do well if you hold long enough. And I want to drive you back to the real reason why you're moving. The real reason why you want to list the home is because whatever that reason was, you don't want to know, you no longer want to walk upstairs anymore because of the potential falling, because you said you were working with seniors. Like, what's the reason they want to downsize? You don't want to have to take care of this property anymore and that quality of life. And so, yes, I want to make sure I protect you from an economic standpoint, but I also want to make sure I guide you the correct way of your quality of life and the reasons why you should actually move now. That's where I've seen it work with Acre Brothers, is that people will make decisions based upon the emotional outcome and quality of life they want, but they get so nervous that they're going to make a terrible decision financially. So it's your job to assure them, well, financially, here's what the market does. Here's the difference in money that you might save. Let's say if rates went down by half a percentage point, or what you might save if the market turned by 10 grand. But is that worth your quality of life? Is that worth what you're living through right now? That's the real question we have to decide. And I'm here to consult you in this and give you the best opportunity. That's where I would go with it. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, Luke, and I totally agree with you. And I also think there's sometimes when motivation may change, like it may adjust. And so I said, as I'm listening to you, it's like, that's all great if they would get back on the phone. I have a few, we'll have that conversation, and then they're not open to conversation. So you can't do that if they're not, they think they know, and now they're not answering your calls, your follow-up calls.
That's such a great point. It's why on your first call, one of the main things you have to do in your first conversations is you try your hardest, and it's a difficult thing, but you try your hardest to get to the real motivation, the real reason of wanting to buy or sell. You've got to push extremely hard. It's like, I'll give you a comparable with Reminder Media. When we sell, our magazines to people to send, or our, marketing products, I tell our sales team, the first objection that you get is not real. Not because it's not important to that person, but 9 times out of 10, most people, it's like you walk into a retail store, the person asks you, can I help you find something? And the initial gut reaction is no. And it's not because that person is not interested in buying something in that retail store. It's just how human nature is. It's just you throw up a guard because I'm going to have to make a decision. I'm going to have to reveal something that's vulnerable that they could maybe use against me. And so your job as the professional is to push through what you know to be surface level. And it's not that they're not telling you their total real motivation, but they're telling you maybe the surface level of their motivation. And this is why have you ever heard of the 5 whys?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of the 5
Okay, so the 5 whys, for those who are listening.
What are the 5 whys?
Well, I don't know. We'll have to ask you what the 5 Ds are after this. But
I think that's the reason people move. Yeah.
It's the reason people move. Yeah, divorce, death, stuff like that. But the 5 whys are it's essentially a thought process of getting to the true reason. So if LaKayla says, I'm wanting to move and I want to move over because I want to be in a different area. Well, why do you want to be in a different area? Well, I'm really looking for, more acreage. Why are you looking for more acreage? And you go 5 whys deep, because then you'll find out they want more acreage because they have young kids and they want their kids to be able to be outside. Oh, awesome. And you get to that deeper why, which is the emotional pull. And remember, people are convinced on logic, but they buy on emotion. And this is like proven in psychology. The way we make decisions is through the emotional part of our brain. And if I was smarter, I would know the different parts of the brain, but it's the emotional part of the brain. And that's why it's like people will say it doesn't feel right in my gut. What does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like 2 + 2 is 4. It's not 5. It's not 6. 2 + 2 is 4. So what do you mean it doesn't feel right in my gut? It's because people make decisions emotionally. So they got to be convinced on logic. Well, the convincing on logic is you rightfully explaining and consulting to them, what does the real estate market do? What would the difference be if they held? What would the chances of them being able to time the market be? All these are you as a professional guiding them and saying, hey, look, these are the facts. This is the logic.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I share this logic with you is because I want to get back to the main reason why you want to actually sell your home and get to the new home. And then you give that an emotional, and what is that peace of mind worth to you? What is that emotional quality of life worth to you? And when you get people thinking that way, they'll be like, you're right. I could maybe time the market and save 10 grand. But, historically, even the great investor Warren Buffett says, don't try to time the market.
Yes. So you meant WHY, not the letter Y. So it's like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's a way for you to try to get deeper with people. It's like ask 5 whys. Like you might not always make it to the 5th why, but it's why. And why do you say that? And why do you say that? And you got to be careful because it might come across as a interrogation. So you got to frame it appropriately. But that's what you want to do. But great question, because everybody is struggling with it.
Well, my mother would say I should be good at that because I did that well as a kid.
Nice.
Yeah, I read you, LaKayla. I mean, you're a really good producer, solid, been in the industry. You could be coaching me, been in the industry for 30 plus years. You're struggling with the same thing all of us are, is people are sitting on low interest rates. Prices are super high. Buyers and sellers are thinking, is this the right time to sell? Because we just came through one of the greatest markets ever, and now we're in the worst market ever. And they're wondering, should I hold? And the answer to that is, well, what do you want out of life? Are you holding just for money? Are you holding for a quality of life? Like, what do you want? Like, I got to get to that before I consult you on the investing side. Like, what does it mean for your economics? Because everybody wants to feel like they're getting a great deal, right? When they're moving, when they're buying and selling, they're either getting what they want for their property or they're buying a great deal. Everybody wants to feel that way. And so your goal is to guide them through, is it a great deal? Are they going to win in the end? And how do you showcase that to them through logic and then tie it back to their main reason for moving? And you focus on seniors. So you have such a great, you know why you do? Because, and this sounds maybe bad, I mean this respectfully, do they have a long time to live? Is money important to them? I mean, like the ultimate importance to them? And
money and not nearly as much as a younger person.
Exactly. That's my point. It's like, I mean it respectfully of like, yeah, I hope they live, but they are way more mature of going, hey, my quality of life means more to me now than having an extra 5 grand, 10 grand in my bank account. And I still believe they will actually do well, even if you convince them over the right logic to move. So that's amazing. And then also you think about what's the reason why they want to move. It's usually downsizing. So they don't have to do as much work, the landscaping work. They don't have to walk upstairs anymore. It's usually those pain point reasons that are true quality of life things. Right. They might want to be closer to their grandbabies, right? And so you have such emotional connections that you can drive for quality of life to get to them to move. But you're going to have to do that on the first call, because your problem is you're getting some calls and appointments, but then they're ghosting you is what I'm hearing.
Yep, some.
Yeah.
Or they'll go out with buyers. They'll go out and see things, and then they get discouraged because maybe their budget can't get them what they want. So I'm not getting ghosted right away, but it is happening.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I would add to all of this discussion that's kind of a different angle on this same problem is you do not have a probably sales problem from a client perspective of helping these people, because you want to make the best decision for them. And maybe the best decision is they should not move. You need a bigger pipeline.
That's right.
So you need more. Yeah. You need more leads. So you don't have to feel any commission breath. Not saying you do, but we all feel that pressure. You don't feel any commission breath to close this deal with this senior, because you have such a full pipeline of people to help that you can be so truthful with everybody you talk to. Like you can just be brass tacks, authentic and truthful, and go, hey, I believe you're making a mistake because you're wanting to time the market. And here's why I say that. And I just mean that because some agents won't tell you that because they're just interested in getting a deal done. My job is to consult you here and tell you the facts. And that's why I've been in business for 32 years. And I would love to help you, but I just want to make sure you are armed up with the best facts possible to help you and your family and what you're trying to do. And if you have a full pipeline, you'll have no fear telling people the truth. You'll have no fear telling people this is what it is. Take it or leave it. I'm here to help. I want to serve. And there's a lot of people I'm trying to serve right now. And I would love for you to be one of them. But if not, man, I'll keep in touch with you, whether you buy today or in 4 years. I want to be your person, and you'll always get the truth from me. And dude, that's gonna make people feel like, whoo, I want to work with LaKayla.
Oh, what? Yeah. So that's the answer, and that's the answer I keep coming back to: a bigger pipeline.
Yep. A bigger pipeline. I love it. LaKayla, thank you so much for coming on the show, because I hope this was helpful to you, but I know this will be helpful to so many agents out there that are struggling with the same thing. But really appreciate you being a listener, coming on the show. Let's connect on Instagram, and we'd love to hear how it goes for you.
Yes.
And if you need help building your pipeline, let's connect, because I can help you do that, whether it's through paid advertising or, marketing to your referrals like you're doing, and we can step it up a notch there.
Awesome. Thank you, LaKayla. Good luck.
All right. Thanks so much, Luke.
All right.
You and Josh have a great day. Bye.
You too. Bye.